Mud sharks. I read Sylvia Plath's Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. A mirror is silver, polished and exact. It's smooth, it's cold, it's the biographer that answers in silence. And I'd often repeat, all answers come in silence. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? My mother used to spend a lot of time looking at her reflection. She was not vain, she kept a small one, her favourite one, on her armchair. One never asked why. I understood the echo of the passing of time. Whatever it swallowed immediately. Just as it was, unmissed by love or dislike, not cruel, only truthful. The eye of the little god, four-cornered most of the time, it meditated on the wall. Mother's mirror. She looked at it so long it became part of her heart. Now Sylvia Plath's was pink with freckles. For her, faces and darkness separated, not a happy end. Now the mirror is a lake. See the mirror as a lake, right? And a woman bends over her, searching for what she really is. Then she turns her gaze to those liars, the candles or the moon. The mirror sees her back and reflects it, faithfully, rewarded with tears and agitation of hands, as I'm doing now. The lake acting as a mirror, it's important to her, and so she comes and goes. Each morning it is her face that replaces the darkness. In me, the mirror, she has drowned a young girl, and in me, an old woman rises towards her day after day like a terrible fish. Sylvia never got to see her aged reflection. My mother did. 2 mirrors, 2 stories, but the end the same. Now a book is four-cornered. A book acts as a mirror. And everyone's first book is about what they know. Am I right, Dave?
You're right.
And here I hold Mudcharts. Am I right? A fictional biography.
Yeah. Story of that story.
And I can understand why you choose to do it, to do it in this format. Good evening. I understand why you choose to do this. Perhaps would I say maybe if a pure biography is too painful. So in a way you're detached.
Yeah.
In presenting as a fictional biography, you are detached. Because it is, in a sense, quite painful. I mean, we went on the radio and God knows why I talked about my spoiled background that I had a chauffeur or something. God, I haven't got one now. Nothing. Marriage still to that. So there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain in this book. And did you, in writing this book, was it a cathartic experience?
It was good to do.
And a form of therapy?
I don't think I needed any therapy, but it was cathartic. It was good to get it out of the way.
And this anger that you put down on the page, is it still there? No.
I'm a lawyer, I'm saying nothing.
That's typical lawyers. Everyone has their own truth. And have you found, because I mean, I kind of say this, because you know, it's great, you've written a book. God, I'd like to, you know, you've done it, you've written a book. And it's a good book. It's very erudite. It's literate. Which is funny, because it's about punk, and we think of punk as being simple and prosaic. So have you had anyone, you've written your truth, have you had anyone say to you, although it's fictional biography, that's not how it was?
Nobody said it directly, but I think it's been inferred that why haven't you written the story that I wanted you to write? That's from a lot of people back in the day. I think I felt that from them.
Yeah, so in other words, there's probably another book in you.
Well, there is, but it's not going to have any sort of civil standards in it.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, so there's a kind of, I don't know what link it has. In a sense, it's a mirror. You read it. I imagine when you read it, it's a mirror to your experience, and it mirrors, so it's a mirror to your life, although you're saying it's not your life. I think it's a really good book. You should buy it.
Then Bob. Okay, this is where Harry, the main character in my book, meets and plays with another musician for the first time. 12. The Cellophane Warehouse. Marius wagged a cautionary finger. The smile stayed just behind his jowls. Don't go too fast, the roads are iced up, he said. Yeah, I replied. And Harry, he made sure I met his eyes, I turned to the factory door. Don't forget to lock up. I dangled the keys for him to see. His voice followed me out. And make sure they sign. Right, I said. I slid the van doors shut and the rails of bawdy dresses we'd been making for the last few weeks. In February's frosty sunshine, they looked incongruously lightweight. After backing into a van-sized space amidst a double-park anarchy in Fonthill Road, I dragged the snaking garment rails towards Natalie's trendy outlet at the end of a breeze-block corridor. Music leaked from the room I was delivering to. Before turning the handle, I paused to listen. It wasn't like anything on Radio 1. A blistering, unrelenting racket battered the walls as I pulled my rail into a large grey space, crammed with row upon row of dresses, shirts and strides. Natalie burst through the double doors at the far end of the room. Waving and dabbing her face, she turned and glared along the line of clothes. Turn that off, she yelled. But nothing turned off. In fact, the level increased, causing her to fan her bosom furiously. She drew breath. Christian, switch it off! The din stopped at a click. Thank God for that, she turned to me, smiling with relief. Ah, summer dresses for Marius. Christian, she called over her shoulder. As if a monster was hulking up the aisle towards us. The walls of cellophane rippled in ominous waves. The final wedge of garments were flung aside and Christian emerged with a glower. He was about my age, but where I was set, he was wiry. And where my hair sprouted wildly, he formed his into a copse of defensive spikes. In the home of the 6-feet Oxford bags, rhinestone studs and embroidered denim shirt, his tatty biker jacket, tight black jeans and holy plimsolls appeared deliberately at odds. He casually wiped his nose at the back of his hand. Easy, Nat, he said, I'll handle it. Natalie's stern headshake couldn't conceal the smile. Smiles always leaked through for Christian. You drive me mad with this music, she said. Christian winked and surprised me with a small pot of Vaseline produced from a zipped pocket. He dabbed some on his clever lips, the rest he rubbed into his hair. I know you love it, he said, snapping the lid back. Delivery, she exhaled tidily. Stack these in 3 with the twin sets, count them and give the man a receipt. Job done, he said with a nicotine yellow thumbs up. As Natalie left, I turned to face Christian, but he was already making his way back down the aisle. In seconds, a racket again filled the room. His hand fanned across the dresses with absurd speed. 52, he said in 26 seconds. I had to shout. Who's that? The Damned, he said. Good, I nodded. Yes, saw him down the Roxy last week. Brilliant. Where's that, I asked. Covent Garden. Neat, 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 he sang, violently miming the guitar. Can you play? Yeah, he said, hands by his side, jumping on the spot as if he was going up for a header at a corner. I was nodding too. I'm a drummer, I blurted, even though I wasn't really. Good beat. Fucking brilliant. Rat, he said, scowling. But even as he menaced, posed and snarled, I detected a vulnerable shade in him. He wanted me to think he was mad or hard or bad, but he wanted me to like him as well. I knew that razor-blade balancing act. I'd been performing it all my school days. I felt reassured I wasn't the only kid that straddled the line between nasty and needy. Landing with a snarl, he produced a second surprise. A dazzling, all-encompassing smile that looked like the sun coming up. His teeth were pearly and even like an old film star's. His eyes were wide, secretively grey. His pale skin was literally spotless. He was elfin, a forest creature like a deer, quick to startle. We should jam, he said triumphantly. All right, rat, I nodded with excitement. He could have said cut your head off and whistle through the hole and I would. His slender fingers beckoned me. Come here, he said. I followed him through the maze of garments until, with a flourish, he parted a rack of fake fur coats to reveal his red sticker-cake guitar. My stomach fluttered excitedly. In the few seconds I'd been in his company, I knew he wouldn't take a piss if he heard me play. Here you are, mate, he said, writing his number on the back of a fag packet and handing it to me. Sitting on the bed in my room, I examined the fag packet Christian had given me at Natalie's outlet. Why had he encircled the A in Christian? And why had he written that particular letter in capitals? That A sign was on his guitar as well. All those safety pins fastened to his jacket, what were they about? And holes in everything. He wore a thick leather belt like Abdul's, but he definitely wasn't a hippie. He wasn't a skin either, but not completely dissimilar, especially the way he spoke and sneered. The Damned. What sort of a name was that, and why the devilish label? I blew a speck of dust from a symbol. I'd had my kit a couple of months. It was the last thing I saw at night and the first thing I saw in the morning. It was practically an antique. Colin from the shop had told me he'd been the
touring kit for some old jazzy in the 50s. In and out of cars and vans, set up and broken down 1,000 times, and they didn't have cases like they have now. Back then, son, the shells, one silver, were mottled grey, and the rims were dotted with stubborn rusty spots that just wouldn't come off. With bits borrowed from the factory, I buttressed the old stands, legs and arms, old moving parts, and replaced screws, lugs and nuts that had sheared or become loose when I played. It might have looked puny compared to the pro kits in the shop windows, but believe me, in the terrace bedroom in Green, it was a monster, my monster. My landlady was aghast when I heaved it up the stairs to the room above her TV, but I assured her she'd never hear me hit it. She went to see her sister 2 roads away most weekday evenings. In that hour, I'd muffle the whole thing in cabins from the factory and practice like a demon. Beats, rudiments, patterns, and constant repetition. I'd try something new every time I sat behind my beloved chromium snare drum. It did not go out. I bought no beer or chocolate. My dedication bordered on the holy. Revving the engine, I scraped an icy film from the windscreen and flicked on the lights. Once again I was on my way to Natalie's trendy fashion emporium in Finsbury Park, but this time, instead of floral dresses swaying in the back of the van, I had my drums. Parking with ease by the outlet, I slid the door back to see Christian standing there, leather collar up, freezing breath rising from his mouth. Wordlessly he gripped the traps case and hauled it out. I put my hands on bass drum and floor tom case respectively. The air about us crackled and hummed as he swore and menaced his temperamental amplifier. Sitting behind the kit, I felt like a muscle man, too pumped to move, charged and veiny, close to detonation. What about the noise, I asked, the sticks trembling with my fingers. He stepped away from his amp and pulled the rails in closer and closer. The designs were a blur. Put near the IRA in here, he said. He met my eye and played a fat teeth-clenching chord. See? We had a battling first rehearsal. I thrashed, he flailed, he changed tempo and so did I, but not necessarily at the same time. I was conscious that we were shit, but we were shit together. When we finally ran out of puff, he opened the can for me. I swigged mightily, it went straight to my head. Fuck, I said, coughing snot and beer all over the kit. That was brilliant. Got a German idea there, Harry. Yeah? I tried to look like I knew what he was talking about. I reckon I could get at least 3 numbers out of that. You reckon? I was genuinely intrigued. Was this how it was done? The alchemy of songwriting revealed in a cellophane warehouse? Oh yeah, got to do my own album. He lit me a fag with a nod. Once I'm sure I'm in the scene. The scene? Punk. Punk? What are you, a parrot? While I broke my kit down, he opened another can and spoke. Yeah, mate, gonna get a cracking band together, practice like mad. And not in here, proper rehearsal room with a PA and mics, gig everywhere. He was speaking another language, but I understood the odd word. Punks. They were all over the papers, hated by the journalists in the Wedding Maker and the Red Tops. Christian said they were hated by most people in society because they were pioneers and challenged the status quo. At least I knew